Good morning and welcome to another pre-market review session with the Market Trader. My name's Ray, the Market Trader. And before we get started, let's take a look at our risk disclosure. Okay, remind everyone that the content that's being published and distributed by the marketer and its affiliates is to be treated as general information only. None of the information provided by the company or contained herein is intended as investment advice, an offer to solicit, buy, sell, recommend, endorse, sponsor any security, company, or fund. We all understand that the use of this information contained herein is to be used at your own risk, and the company, its partners, representatives, agents, employees, contractors assume no responsibility or liability for any use or misuse of this information. Future trading does carry a fair amount of risk, and not for every investor. Investor could potentially lose all or more of their investment capital. Only risk capital money that can be lost without jeopardizing one's financial security or lifestyle should be used for trading, and only those individuals with sufficient risk capital should consider trading. Again, nothing contained here is a solicitation to offer buy, sells, future options, or Forex, and past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Good morning, Stumps. We'll go ahead now that we've gotten through the risk disclosure here, guys. We're going to go ahead and turn our attention over to the news, which we have a fair amount of news today. So let's take a look. All right. Again, today is interest rate day. All right. So we could get some pretty wild markets today, especially after the report here. Okay. Good morning, Wetlands. Good morning, Lisa. Good morning, Anthowell. So we've already gotten some housing and building permit reports. Looks like they came in under expectation here on both cases. We have EIA crude oil inventories coming in today at our normal time at 10:30 Eastern. And then I would say that the granddaddy of reports here that everybody I think is waiting on is the U.S. interest rate decision. Okay. Given some of the poor job numbers that we've had in the recent past, there is a strong feeling that the Fed has no other choice but to reduce interest rates. I think in some cases, some of the rallies that we've seen in the equities have been as a result of that. Okay. And as we've gotten closer to this U.S. rate decision, as they gotten maybe some more indication on whether something like this is going to happen or not, that's probably resulting in some of the selling that we're seeing. Okay. In any case, this is indeed going to move the markets here. Okay. So 2 p.m. today is probably a time that I'm going to sit aside and kind of watch the market. Okay. And let this kind of play out. It's not a news event that I'm going to participate in. Okay. All right. So 2 p.m., a lot of discussion on the forecast and the future of interest rates. Okay. Which most likely. And then I think the most significant portion of this is the actual press conference with Fed Powell. Okay. That could indeed cause the markets, I guess, even more reason to, right? They're going to be looking and analyzing his every word. Okay. In that press conference, and that could again cause the markets. And obviously, we have President Trump, who most likely will be reacting as to whether he indeed reduced rates or kept rates flat. In either case, we have another opportunity here at 3 p.m. Eastern, where we could see some continued volatility in the markets. Okay, so I would say that leading up to the report probably is going to be a time where we're going to be a little bit, I would say, neutral. Certainly there's always the possibility of having this number maybe be made available, I guess, in a backdoor way. But nonetheless, I would expect that this could create be a catalyst for some sort of potential major move here in the markets. Okay, something to be cognizant of in any case. Okay. All right. So now that we've gotten through the news here, guys, we're going to go ahead and turn our attention over to the markets and see what context we can pull out of the markets here to prepare ourselves as best as possible for the day, for the session today. Okay. All right. So let's see. Let's start off with the a gold market here. Okay. So fair amount of selling that took place overnight. Let's take a look at the daily. All right, let's remove some of our drawings here. Let's see, remove. All right, so taking a look at this here, we have volume delta. Okay, volume delta, and we have a developing, quite a strong developing bearish candle here. Okay, so nonetheless, even with this current candle, while there might be maybe some indication here that maybe there is a little bit of a slowdown in the momentum to the upside, we still have the momentum still remains to the upside. Price remains above our 9 EMA. Okay, indicating that there's still a fair amount of strength here in this market. Okay, so let's go ahead and move down to the 4-hour chart. Looking at the 4-hour chart, we're going to go ahead and turn off, if I can here, initial balance here for a moment. All right, so we're going to turn off initial balance. You can see that with that comment that I made earlier about maybe there's a little bit of a slowdown in the momentum here to the upside. It's far more visible here in the 4-hour chart, right? We continue to make higher highs and higher lows. We had a little bit of a consolidation, okay, range that took place here, and then some initiative buying that took place, broke us out of the range. And now in some cases, we might be even retesting that same area. Okay, let's take a look here and see. I'm just going to go ahead and draw a trend line here, something along those lines. Okay, so that has not quite happened. All right, so this trend line could potentially serve as an area of maybe some potential support here. Okay, that would be a logical area to see given the price consolidation pattern that we're seeing here. Okay, so we continue to be in this bullish range. Okay, I would again draw this kind of channel here to indicate the range that we're in, but we're at the bottom end of the range, right? So the question now becomes, is this area at the bottom end of the range, is this going to offer us an area for price to I guess continue in the range, but maybe swing back to the upside? Okay, that's kind of what I'm potentially seeing here. Okay, so again, we're in a bullish channel. Price remains to the upside, but I would say that it is losing a little bit of maybe steam here to the upside. Let's go ahead and take a look here at the 30-minute chart. Looking at the 30-minute chart, you can see again that 4-hour channel that I was kind of speaking of. We're getting a little bit of a reaction away from this area here, right? We are starting to begin to maybe potentially break some structure here to the upside on this 30-minute chart. Price is above our 9 EMA. Still has not made it above. We'll go ahead and turn off this channel here. I don't think it's offering us much insight here at this point. So you can see that price is hovering right at the edge of the VWAP here. So again, if it's going to remain in this kind of bearish structure, right, that we're in on the short term, VWAP could offer us that location. But given the fact that we are still technically in a bullish pattern on the higher time frame, this could be maybe the beginnings of maybe a swing back to the highs here. Okay, so let's take a look at the fixed range volume profile. Let's get a sense for where price is in relation to current price action. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and drag this from the beginning of yesterday's session to the close of yesterday's session. And you can see right now that there's a fair number of sellers in this market, right? Fair number of sellers. Maybe again, is kind of maybe an indication that maybe there's a feeling that the interest rates are going to be reduced. And that's kind of what's causing maybe a change in hands from gold to maybe some of the other instruments. Okay, so price is below our value, indicating that there's a fair amount of interest here to the downside. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the initial balance here for Asia. Asia again offered us a very nice extension to the downside, right? Again, to the point where, it seems like this is a market that we should be paying a little bit more attention to. Okay. So nice extension to the downside. We kind of hovered around the, what was this? Let's see if I have the 200%. Just kind of taking a look here, making sure I have the 200% extension marked here. Okay, so the 50% extension is this line right here. That's settlement. We got all the way down to the 200% extension of the initial balance range. So a really nice move here to the downside, and we didn't stop there. We paused here for a moment and continued. Taking a look as we got closer to the London session. So let's take a look at London. London does appear that was also to the downside here. So we'll move to London and take a look at what London offered here. Okay, so again, you can see that London also extended to the downside, but probably not as bearish as Asia at this point, right? So we extended to the downside, got to 50% of the extension, and I guess this looks more like a potential failed auction, right? So now the feeling is that at least that we will get up to the highs here, okay, potentially, and before we see any sort of continuation move here to the downside. Do you consider historical reactions to rate cuts in gold? Historically, we've had a pretty good movement in gold as a result of in gold, right? So again, rate cuts in gold, I think, or cuts in interest rates, I think generally it does not have a positive effect on the gold market. Yeah, more like failed auction in London. Correct. Okay. So lowering of rates generally offers opportunity for the equity markets to rally, right? Right, because they feel like they need to move the market into instruments that will maybe secure them some sort of return, right? Or it's a rather than moving into maybe some more conservative ways of doing that. Okay. All right. So here we are. We're in a market that's developed. It's coming back into this range. Right now, it feels like we are in some sort of bearish structure here. We have a little bit of loss of momentum here on the upper end, on the higher time frame charts. So right now, if we are going to maintain in this bearish structure, okay, then this obviously would be a logical location. There's obviously the potential of maybe price reaching the other side of the initial balance range in London, right around 37.13, 37.15. Magnitude, I think it really depends on the reaction of the market. Okay, reaction of the participants. The movement can be quite significant, guys. Okay, interest rate decisions, monetary policy can have a significant impact on the market. Okay, all right. All right. So here we are at London. We're going to go ahead and move into the kind of the regular session here, day session, and take a look and see what kind of range we're developing here. So we're developing at least a bullish candle here at the moment. We have some areas here above us that could serve as logical locations for continuation move here to the downside. You can see how value area low caused price to react again as a continuation move here to the downside. And it's only been, I guess, during the tail end of London here that we've started to see the market kind of rally here a little bit. Okay. So what to make of all of this? Well, right now, I would have to say that we're starting to break some structure here to the upside. If we get our close above, I still feel that this area here is still kind of ripe, would be still kind of a ripe area for sellers to kind of step into this market, right, and keep it in some sort of range until we get the interest rate decision. So while I do see some bullish price action, if I do decide to maybe follow this move, I don't feel like the reward to risk is all that good because I have this area right here that has shown to be resistant in the past. So while the market is bullish, I think right now I'm probably going to be sitting on my hands here and waiting for what maybe a opportunity to potentially sell this market. Okay, looking for an opportunity for a reversal or continuation of this bearish structure here. If we start to break, like we're breaking above here, if we start to break above 37.18, or we get back inside the value range, then maybe I start to change my tune here. Okay, but right now I would say that I think my view still is to maybe potentially look for some opportunities to fade this move. Okay, that's kind of my current view here right now. Okay, all right. Let's go ahead and move on to the crude oil market. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the crude oil. So again, reminder again, guys, today is inventory. Generally on FOMC days, I would move to the crude oil because they're not as impacted by these kind of rate decisions as maybe some of these other markets. But today we also have EIA, right? So we have inventory. So again, today's going to be an interesting day, right? An interesting day in the markets, right? A lot of volatility in the markets and all the instruments that we kind of track here. All right. So let's take a look at the daily chart. Again, daily chart. Again, really a lot of chop here. We kind of talked about maybe the possibility of developing what appears to be maybe even maybe a triple bottom here around the 62 level. So 62 does appear to be a important level in this market. We'll reduce our volume delta here for a bit. Yeah, it has the possibility of maybe breaking out of this range. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3. We have this 65, 63 level above us. If we manage to get above that level, I don't see any reason why we can't get back to the 70 level in this market. But we could remain in a range, right? So we have 62 and we have 66, kind of an established range in this market. We had a nice series of bullish volume here that caused the market to rally, and now today we have an inside, or not quite an we opened slightly above. Okay, and now we are developing a candle that's kind of working its way inside this candle. Now, again, when I look at these kinds of things, I look at this current candle, and as long as we don't break 50, as long as we remain above this 50% of this candle, well, that could maybe trigger maybe an opportunity for a continuation move here to the upside. All right, let's take a look at the 4-hour chart. Okay, again, the current pattern looks like more of a little bit of a retracement, right? Looks like more of a retracement than necessarily an impulsive move. The impulses seem to be to the upside, right? Impulse move. This could be considered an impulse move, but now and then we kind of grind it back to another impulse move. Okay, so of late, right, we're seeing maybe some buyers maybe stepping into this market and keeping the market propped up to the upside here. Okay, so on the 4-hour chart, I'm going to be kind of tracking this channel, right? So if this is indeed initiative, then the idea is that I would get a bullish candle above with some volume that would indicate that maybe we enter into some sort of initiative price action here to the upside. You can see that we've broken some structure here to the upside. We are currently retesting that same level as we speak, right? We're testing that level right now. So this 64 level seems to be a level of relative importance here. 64.80 was the area that we broke above. So assuming that we could stay above 63.80 and above 64, that gives us the feeling that there's a possibility that we could make it all the way back up to 66. That would not be out of the realm of possibilities here. Taking a look at the 30-minute chart, looking at the 30-minute chart here, there's that channel that I was speaking of on the 4-hour. Okay, so right, this I'll probably be on this chart. I would probably adjust it here a little bit. So I see that I am in a 4-hour channel. Okay, given the price action I would see here of late, I would probably draw a channel like this. You can see that we got a candle, a relatively strong candle here that broke to the upside. Now we have a candle that is currently rejecting the 9 EMA. We're about 6 minutes away from this candle closing, but right now the indications are that maybe price wants to hit higher. Okay, so we have settlement price above us. That would be a reasonable target, and there's also a fair amount of value of volume traded up here at 64.52. So if we do rally, okay, I could see 64.52 being an area of some resistance to price. Okay, it could cause the market to, again, a good amount of volume here could cause the market to stall here. All right, so let's remove some of these drawings. Let's take a look at the fixed range volume profile. Let's take a look here and see where price is in relation to yesterday's price action here. Okay, so we'll start with the start of the session here and take our price across here. So you can see here we're at the edge of value. Actually, we've actually closed back inside value. All right. So if we can remain in this range, right, it appears that maybe there's a possibility that there could be some sort of rotation in price here. Okay, price is currently inside value from yesterday. So if it's inside value, we did take a peek below. We were a little bit, we tried to take price below it, but we found some buyers. So buyers have now driven price back into value. So there could be some sort of rotation. Certainly back to settlement does not seem out of the question here. Okay, we have price above our 9 EMA, above our VWAP. We still are kind of somewhat inside some bearish structure here. Certainly sellers can step in at any moment here inside this area. If we break above settlement and we break above this area of volume, then yeah, that opens up 66 and maybe higher. Okay. Let's see what I wanted to do here. I'd like to go ahead and take a look and see what some of our participants in some of the other sessions were able to do with this market. We'll start with the Asia session. Okay, so let's open that up. Okay, for Asia, so we have Asia was bearish, technically, right? It did cross below the initial balance range. Looks like the bears really stepped in on in the crude oil market, in the London market. So we're going to head and open that up. Okay, so London was created a bearish, right? A little bit more bearish in London. ORB to the downside, did not hold though. Okay, the expectation would be that if we extended to the downside and we were in some sort of bearish structure, that this return back to the initial balance low would be maybe an area for a continuation move to the downside. Okay, that initial balance low. Instead, what we found was relatively strong buyers here. So they used that dip, okay, in price to add potentially to their portfolios, looking for opportunity to the upside in this market. So I would say that as long as price remains above the initial balance low, we could be headed for maybe a price move higher in this market. Okay, that's kind of what I'm seeing right now, right, in this instrument here. Okay, so as long as price remains above, say, 64.15, then I would say that there's a reasonable chance for price to make it maybe make its way back to the highs here at 64.46, and maybe we have another confluence of settlement up here as well. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm seeing. So somewhat bearish in Asia. London, I guess, was initially bearish, but it looks like London used that as an opportunity to maybe add to their position here. So again, as long as we remain above this initial balance low, then I would say that there's a fair chance that we maybe continue higher in the crude oil market. Okay, so so we're still a few minutes away here from the open of this regular session for crude oil. But before we go ahead and move on to taking a look at the equity markets, I'm just going to kind of put in my plug here to encourage people to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, make a comment or two on the portal if this analysis is supporting your view and understanding of the markets. Okay, so I got a little one additional like there and two people that exited. So I don't know if that's a I guess I win. Okay. Let's see. Started to find either Asia, London sessions are more predictable, offers low risk reward. Yeah, Aslan. Right now, I would say yeah. There, I think there is a the market in Asia and London have certainly provided us some directional trade, right? So yes, I would tend to agree with that statement. But like any markets, I mean, that we're testing, these kinds of things over time, right? So we have to understand that these markets are fluid, right? And it could change, but I tend to agree with that statement. Asia and London has offered some sessions. Unfortunately, in my case, there's still some sleep, okay, that I need to have in order to be somewhat functional here, right? But yeah, I think certainly London has offered some nice opportunities in the crude oil market. I would say that Asia has offered some nice opportunities in the gold market. Okay, all right. Let's go ahead and take a look at the equity markets. I think that's the market that everybody's interested in understanding what's going to take place here. So I don't know if this is just a move to again add to our portfolios here, guys, but I think everyone is kind of interested to see here. Let's take a look at the daily chart and see what the daily chart is offering us. Again, this gap that we're seeing here is a result of rollover. I don't think it's necessarily any sort of indication that there is a lot of interest, right? So the idea is that we had rollover, and that's what's created this gap here. Okay. All right. So you can see on these daily candles over the last couple of days, it's probably contributed to a lot of frustration. Okay. If you were an equities trader, probably contributed to a lot of the frustration that maybe we've had in trading these markets, because really the market went nowhere, right? If you look at this, we basically started where we opened on these daily candles. Any way that we can make any way that we can make money when the market does not move, well, it's very difficult, right? There's not, we don't have the same facility in futures as we do maybe in some option strategies that would benefit from no price movement. Okay, but we haven't had any price movement in the Nasdaq in the last couple of days. Market continues to be bullish, but I would say over the last couple of days has been range bound. And again, I think a lot of it is a result of the fact that we are waiting for the interest rate decision. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart is really not giving us much more in the way of a sense of direction here, right? We got a little bit of an ominous candle here, and everybody was thinking, "Oh my God, we're going to sell off," and only for price to kind of continue in range. Look at these candles here from the start of yesterday's session all the way to the start in London, all very neutral candles in this market. We're starting to pick up a little bit of momentum here, okay, off of the 9 EMA. So again, on the 4-hour chart, yeah, very indecisive as to the direction they want to take this market, right? We're starting to get a little bit of price action here, right up against the 9 EMA, right? And that would, assuming that we can kind of remain above the 9 EMA, this could offer us maybe an opportunity, maybe for another leg higher in this market. I say could, right? Could offer us an opportunity for another leg higher. The question is that move going to take place prior to the interest rate decision? That's the question. Now, if there is some inkling or some confirmation or some maybe inside information has been kind of percolating through the market, then yes, we could see maybe a potential move to the upside. Okay. All right. Or we can just remain in range until the interest rate decision takes place. All right. Let's go ahead and take a look at the 30-minute chart. Let's see what this is offering here. Like I said, a lot of range price action of late here in this market. We did make an attempt to go lower. We basically found some buyers here during London. Okay. We could see that price is hovering above and below our VWAP at our 9 EMA, really again telling us that we are in some sort of range price action. I don't know about you. I need price to break out of this range, okay, in order for me to participate, right? So I'm not at all interested in being a part of this kind of price move. Now, looking at what the kind of price action we've seen of late, it does honestly feel that the market, it wants to head higher. Okay, that's certainly the feeling I'm getting with these wicks. Notice the wicks that we're getting on the bottom end of these candles here. Okay, so if we do manage to get above, say, 24,550, I would say that we have a reasonable chance of reaching the highs. Now, whether that's going to happen before the interest rate decision, I tend to doubt that, but it's certainly possible. Okay, cannot rule it out. Okay, we're seeing some grinding of price movement higher. Price above our 9 EMA, price above our VWAP, price above settlement. Okay, a lot of indications that the market wants to head higher. All right, so let's take a look here at yesterday's session and see where we're at. All right, looking at yesterday's session, you can see that we're right on the edge of value on the low end. Okay, we had price leave this area, now we're back inside it. So certainly not out of the realm of possibility here that we could have a possible rotation through value again, right? Before we see any sort of sellers potentially stepping into this market, right? Okay, we're back inside value, and that could cause price to rally here. Okay, if not, this is a logical area, value and settlement, a logical area for price to continue lower. That's also possible. So we'll have to see whether we remain above our 9 EMA. That's going to be my litmus test on this market. If price remains above the 9 EMA and above the VWAP, my view on this market is maybe turning bullish. If price breaks below the 9 EMA and breaks below VWAP, then I would say that we are headed for a continuation move here to the downside. So I'm going to let the VWAP kind of dictate to me on what side of the market I want to be in. Okay. All right, let's take a look now at the initial balance, and let's see what the initial balance offered us. So you can see here during London, okay, London offered us maybe a reasonable short, right? We got a nice move and really a nice move all the way down to the 200% extension. This almost seems like it was somewhat news driven. Nice move. You had to be actually quite nimble here to actually benefit from this move, but it reached the 200% extension to the downside. Are they testing the waters? Are they evaluating if there's any interest here in seeing the market head lower? Possibly. What they found was they found some buyers. They found some buyers in the market. Now, I don't know, maybe is a way of wiping out a lot of potential buyers here, or wiping out the stops of maybe some hopeful buyers here. Okay. But that's a pretty significant pullback. All right. To ensure that there is no buyer here. Okay, we're going to wipe out any stops that maybe are offering any interest here to the upside. Now, is that going to again provide us the momentum for a continuation move? Right, we're seeing that price has failed to extend lower. Now we're creeping our way back inside this value, not a initial balance range from London. Assuming that we can close a 15 or 30-minute candle back inside the range, that gives us maybe some opportunity that we could see maybe a rotation all the way through this initial balance range. Okay, that's certainly possible. So I would say right now, heading into the market, I'm starting to see signs of bullish price action, and maybe I'm neutral to bullish. I would say I'm neutral to bullish in the Nasdaq based on the price action that I'm seeing. And I'm basing that decision really on the fact that we are seeing price above our 9 EMA, above our VWAP, okay? And as long as price remains above those levels, then I have to kind of lean on the bullish side, okay? All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the ES here, okay? Looking at the ES, we're going to go ahead and turn off some of our drawings here. All right. So let's see. Let's take a look at the daily. Daily also offering us a little bit of indecision, similar to the NASDAQ. Really, again, yesterday, ES really didn't offer us much of anything as a way of price action. Very neutral day, but on both days here. Okay. Looking at the volume delta bar, pretty significant sell bar here on Monday, I guess. Not so much in either case, really neutral kind of volume on both sides yesterday. All right. Let's take a look at the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart, again, offering a similar kind of view that we are seeing in the NASDAQ. Price has kind of retraced its way back. I think maybe, again, similar to what comment I made earlier, maybe there was maybe some indication that maybe this was going to trigger maybe a little bit of a sell-off in this market. Really hasn't, remained in some sort of range. And now we're at the 9 EMA developing, something in the way of maybe the beginnings of some maybe bullish price action. We're seeing buying wicks below the 9 EMA. So if we start to break some structure here, if we start to break above these wicks and close above these wicks, maybe we start to get some indication that the market wants to head higher. 6,700 is still a very ominous, price level that we need to get above. So of late, we have not made any higher high, okay, in this market. Right now, all we've done is make lower lows, okay? Even this candle here is an inside candle. Did not make a higher high or lower low, okay? It was kind of an inside candle. Now we're developing a potential higher high on this candle, but this is still away. We're still a ways away, about another hour before this candle closes. All right, taking a look at the 30-minute chart. Looking at the 30-minute chart, again, you can see the definition of range. The definition of range is price overlap, right? So we've seen a lot of overlap in price, similar kind of action we're seeing in the ES. Okay, we tested the waters below, found some buyers, and now we're kind of creeping our way higher in this market. Okay, so again, we are in some sort of consolidation, right? I see some sort of triangle pattern that's developing here, right? This looks like maybe a descending wedge, right? Descending wedge indicates maybe there is some further price action here to the downside, right? If we break this wedge to the upside, maybe break above this 66.72, maybe that gives us some confidence that we can head higher. Okay. But right now we're kind of in some sort of range. Let's go ahead and take a look at, let's see, we'll start off with London here. So London offered us kind of a similar kind of action that we saw in NASDAQ. We kind of breached the initial balance to the downside. We got to the 100% extension, and then we've reversed. So this kind of looks like more of a failed auction, right? Failed auction opportunity in London. Looking at the Asia session, Asia looks like was maybe a bit more bearish. Okay, in Asia. Okay, so you can see at Asia we broke down below. We got to basically the 200% extension of the range before we reversed. Okay. We came back to this area of consolidation, the upper end of this this descending wedge, and sold off. Okay, so and continued in some sort of range price action. Okay, so really not as clear as to, I would say probably Asia is probably more bearish than bullish, and London is probably showing us some signs of bullish behavior here. Okay. So kind of markets kind of mixed. Okay. Markets kind of mixed, I would have to admit. So we have London, the most recent session, giving us kind of an indication that price, that it wants to rotate through the initial balance range. Okay. At least up to 66.72. And then at that point, maybe we remain in some sort of range until we get to the interest rate decision. That's kind of my view on the ES. Okay. Let's take a look at the Dow before we kind of make our final pass across all the markets here. So we'll take a look at the Dow. We'll take a look at the daily. So remove some of our drawings. So the Dow looking a little bit stronger than either of the markets, right? So we did have a bearish indecisive candle here, but we're already developing a bullish candle here in the Dow. So as luck would have it, it appears that the Dow seems to be the strongest of the equity market so far, right? We're developing a bullish candle in a market that continues to show signs of strength here. Okay. 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart. Again, we're going to go ahead and turn off our initial balance range. Again, we're showing some signs here. Again, as you can see, that price maybe created a little bit of a double bottom here on the 4-hour. We're developing a 4-hour candle that's breaking some sort of structure here. So indications on the 4-hour is that maybe we continue to the upside. Okay, that's kind of what I'm seeing on the 4-hour, also indicating higher pricing. Moving down to the 30-minute chart. 30-minute chart. Okay, we're going to go ahead and kind of take a look at this. You can see that we were kind of ranging here during yesterday's session, certainly at the tail end of the session after the opening range breakdown. We kind of range for the rest of the day. Now, as kind of we head into maybe 15 minutes before the session here, we've already gotten a break, right? We've gotten a break above an area here, right? We closed above. So assuming that we can hold above, say, this level here, the area that we broke, that's also an area of some low volume. Assuming that we can remain above that, that maybe the beginnings of a leg higher in this market. Okay, cannot deny that, right? If we break below this level, then again, this is kind of where I use my channels to kind of help me stay safe here. Okay, so I'm kind of hesitant to let this one candle dominate the range here, but right now, like I said, maybe this is a break to the upside. Okay, if this is going to continue, we're going to continue to hold this level here, right? So trying to look maybe for an area here where I can draw this channel and offer me some insights here. So let's see if I can maybe do it this way. I'm just a little hesitant to let that candle dominate the range here, but it looks like I have no other way of drawing this channel without doing that. Okay, so if this is going to be a location where we sell off, then we're not going to get above this candle, and we're not going to break the channel above. Okay, so this could offer us maybe a location where we continue. Now, if we remain in this bullish channel, then we have some locations here on the bottom end of the channel to participate. That would take us back down to VWAP. That would take us back down to the 9 EMA. So right now we appear to be a bit extended up to the upside. Okay, probably will be, if I'm looking bullish, I'm probably looking for a slight pullback in this market. Certainly a pullback to this 46,165 level would be welcome in order for me to allow me to participate in a potential move here to the upside. Okay, let's take a look at the initial balance. Let's see what our participants, some of the other participants. So you can see here during London, looks like London has taken an interest in the Dow, okay, to the upside. So this is aggressive price action. We were in balance, but there's a little bit of a buildup here, right? You can see the buildup happening here, right? Wick after wick after wick on the buy side, and finally we kind of broke to the upside. If we take a look at the Asia market, okay, Asia market, probably not quite as bullish. Actually, it was bullish late. So we initially were bearish. We got pretty much to the 200% extension here to the downside, and then we began to find some buyers before we made a new low. Okay, indicating again that there are buyers in the mist here. Okay, all right. So again, headed into the session, I would say out of all the markets that I've seen so far, it does appear that the Dow seems to be the strongest to the bullish side. Okay, out of all three of the equity markets here at the moment. All right. So let's take one last peek across all the markets. Let's see what kind of initial balance range has been establishing here in the U.S. session here. So let's go ahead and move this over just to kind of remind ourselves kind of what we're looking at here. All right, so we are inside our initial balance range. We see that price is beginning to break some structure here to the upside. So if just looking at this chart right here, okay, I would say that maybe we are in the beginnings of maybe an impulsive move to the upside. Okay, if price does not hold the VWAP and breaks below the VWAP and my 9 EMA, then maybe I could see that maybe this structure here is taking some hold here, and we have maybe a continuation move. Right now we have the initial balance range. We have price above it. So I have to kind of err on the side of bullish, because I am above both my EMA as well as my VWAP. Okay. But I do understand that I have been in bearish structure of late. So it's going to be important for price to remain above VWAP and above the 9 EMA for me to continue to hold that view. Okay. Let's take a look at one final look at the crude oil. Crude oil is also showing some signs of strength. We are breaking above our 9 EMA, breaking above our VWAP. We have some areas here that could pose a challenge to price. I would say the 64.50 level is going to be in that area. All right, that could present some issues for this price. Now, if we do manage to get above that, okay, you can see that we've already broken my channel here to the upside, right? Right. This is really the only area that I see that could pose a challenge for this move. Okay. So crude oil is looking a bit on the bullish side as well. All right. So one final look at the NASDAQ. All right. NASDAQ looking at the 30-minute. Okay. So again, you can see that we, I don't know if this is a double or triple bottom here, but it is some sort of bottom that we've reached here at 24,500, let's say. Okay. Some sort of bottom here at 24,500. Looking if I take my channel view of this, I am seeing a little bit of bullish kind of price action, but it does appear that we are in some sort of range. Again, with the interest rates in the horizon, we can continue in that range until that takes place, until that announcement is made, right? At which point we can go either direction. We can continue on this sort of bearish kind of tone that we've seen of late, okay? Or it could cause the market to rally. I would say that this 24,500 level, I think is pivotal for the bulls to hold in order to continue to maintain bullish structure, okay? Because I am seeing of late that we are, kind of holding this level here, okay? So that's kind of what I'm seeing in the NASDAQ. I would say neutral. I would say maybe neutral to maybe somewhat bearish right now is kind of what I'm seeing, right? I'm seeing that we're maybe challenging to get below the VWAP as well as our 9 EMA, and we're in some sort of bearish structure. So in the 30-minute right now, at this moment in time, I would say that I'm looking maybe a bit more bearish than bullish. Okay, but 24,500 is the key level here. Okay. Taking a look at the ES one last time, looking at the ES. Again, we are in some sort of range kind of price action. You can see that we're getting some reaction away from this descending triangle. Okay. So again, could offer us maybe a continuation move here to the downside. But if we do get a break above this descending, because we at this, let's see, what level do I want to call out here? Let's say 64. So 66, 65, let's call that level, maybe 66, 60. That seems to be a supportive level in this market. If assuming that we can stay above that level, that obviously holds out hope that the market could rally from here. If we cannot get above this ascending triangle, then or descending triangle, I should say, that could lead us to maybe a move here to the downside. I am seeing, unlike the NASDAQ, unlike the NASDAQ, I am seeing some kind of reaction here at the top end of this descending triangle. What lends really, I'm really not the visual range volume profile is really not that special. The only thing that I changed is the colors of my value range and the outside of the range, right? But outside of that, everything else is pretty default here. Okay. Nothing really all that amazing. Okay. As far as secret, there's no secret sauce here. Okay. No secret sauce on my volume profile, visible range volume profile. So again, if we are going to be bullish, I'd like to see price break this descending triangle. And then I'd like to be part of any sort of move that comes back and retest this area and offers me maybe a 3-bar reversal pattern back to the upside. Okay. That's kind of what I would be looking for. I don't necessarily want to be a part of this initial move. I'll let the other participants kind of fend off the arrows, right? Let me be the guy that's down here, seeing an indication that they are going to continue to hold this level, and then participate in that move. Okay. All right. And then the last, again, we've kind of already mentioned this already, but the Dow seems to be the strongest of the three markets. We're already inside some sort of bullish channel. You can see that there's a fair amount of volume aligned with that direction. Again, it'll be interesting to see if we continue to maintain that. Whether we break the channel to the downside, that would maybe give me some evidence that maybe we're heading lower. Because again, if I'm looking at this from a slightly more of a macro view, I can see that we are still in some sort of bearish structure here in this market. Okay, this feels more like a consolidation or a retracement of some sort. Okay, however, we are in the bullish channel, so I have to respect that. So as long as we're inside this channel, I'm looking bullish. If we break the channel to the downside, then and with some volume and hold, then my view would be looking for some opportunities back lower. Okay. All right, guys. Well, that was a mouthful session here. Again, guys, I can't emphasize this more than to say, be super careful today of all days. Interest rates decisions could move the markets in ways that we don't anticipate. Okay. And sometimes stops there may be a fair amount of slippage, right? Maybe a fair amount of slippage in those stops. Okay. So as much as we like to have volatility when we trade, uncontrollable volatility is not a recipe for success. Okay. All right. So again, guys, we'll go ahead and close this session. As we close most sessions, trade well, trade safe, trade like a pro, be a trader, guys. Don't hesitate to leave a comment or two. Thank you, Aslan. Appreciate that. I'll leave a comment or two in the portal. Trade safely again, guys. Trade safely again. I can't emphasize the safe today. Today is not a day to be aggressive. Okay. Pick your spots. Pick your spots before. But then I would say that you want to let the news play out, at least for at least a half hour or so before you start to dabble in the markets. Okay, again. Okay. All right, guys. That's it for me. Trade well, trade safe, trade like a pro, be a market trader. Have an excellent day trading, guys. And we'll talk again tomorrow.